Welcome on into the Stroke Limit Reached podcast. I'm your host, Nick, here with my co-host, Mike.
Yo.
And we've got back on the podcast again, Matt.
What to do?
So today, folks, we're going to be talking about the NFL. We're going to start with the AFC. We're going to try to either give you another episode later in this week or next week for the NFC. We are now behind schedule. Football is fastly approaching. And that is what the country needs right now. So everyone sit back, grab a beer or something and listen in to what's going on. So, Mike, I'm going to let you run with it first. You and Matt here have a lot more knowledge than I do in the NFL. I know football, so obviously I can interject, but go ahead.
All right, so we'll start off with a spicy one. First team's going to be the New England Patriots. This offseason, they've made a lot of moves. Me and Matt have discussed a lot about this team already. They lost a ton. They gained a good amount, but some notable losses for this team on the offseason. Mac Jones, quarterback, no longer there, moved to Jacksonville to go be a backup. Ezekiel Elliott went back to Dallas. Devontae Parker, I believe he retired. Mike Gesicki, I forget where he went. Trent Brown starting.
Bengals.
He went to the Bengals? Okay.
Yep.
Trent Brown, I think he also went to the AFC North. Jalen Mills now on the Giants, and J.C. Jackson, their other corner. Don't remember where he went at this time. I'll have him later up somewhere. So they lost a ton of starters, a ton of guys that performed for them in the past. Players that they gained. What's up, Matt?
Sorry, Trent Brown went to the Bengals also.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Notable gains. They got Antonio Gibson from the Commanders. Jacoby Brissett to come be quarterback for them again.
How old is that guy?
I want to say he's like 30, 32, because he started as a career backup, and then he kind of made a name for himself.
I feel like he's been in the league more than 10 years.
You might want to fact check it.
Because he came in, it was like his first or second year when Brady when he got suspended.
That was his rookie year?
Old. It was this one of the two.
Y'all continue. I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's when he came in because Garoppolo was also injured during that, so he had to come in as like the third string practice squad guy.
Yeah.
And I think he won like 3 or 4 games, made a name for himself.
He won a couple. I love
You're right. He got drafted in the third
him.
round in 2016.
Okay, it's about 8 years now. So, yeah, I think Matt's at 31. I like the dude. I just don't think he's anything special. I think he's like a below average starter, but a great backup. And
great backup.
Currently, as it sits right now, the Patriots have said that Drake May, he got drafted number 3 overall, I believe. Drake May will not be starting when the regular season starts. I think we just lost Matt.
That's all right. Continue. We'll bring him back.
All right.
Technical difficulties.
So while he's coming back, so the Patriots camp has announced that
he's now back.
All right, cool. He's back.
Apologies.
Patriots camp announced Jacoby Brissett will be the starter to start the season. Drake May will be benched, and he'll be learning behind him.
Let me ask you a question, since you guys are more into this as well. Was it a contract thing? With Drake May leaving?
I didn't hear you at all through.
Okay, I'll say it again. Was Drake May leaving? Or Drake May, I'm sorry. Mac Jones leaving. Was that a contract thing?
They hate him. They benched him for Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi then underperformed. So they weren't satisfied with the performance of play, especially with him being a first-round pick. Like his rookie year, he was solid, but since then, he wasn't able to do shit. Granted, he didn't have weapons or anything around him, but
I don't know. I just think it's
weird. It was
weird.
just time for them both to move on.
Why bring in Jacoby Brissett and then just let Drake May sit on the bench? I mean,
they want Drake May to develop, and a big part of that, I think, is they know they're not a winning program right now.
So why not just throw him in?
Throw him to the Wolves?
Because the thing is, you can't after you bench Drake May, you can't bring him back. You know what I mean? Like that's tough. But you can always bench Jacoby Brissett, you can't bench Drake May.
Yeah, at this point, Brissett's nothing but like a bridge QB to develop the young guy. So, like there's no rush in needing Drake May. They're not winning now,
Yeah. I mean, it's what a lot of teams do. The Steelers did it with Kenny Pickett. The Vikings are probably going to do it with JJ.
Mm-hmm. So I don't have any issue with them doing that. I understand it, especially because me and Matt argued about it in the offseason. Yeah, Jordan loves to go on, but he had also sat behind a Hall of Famer. But they have one of the worst O-lines. They have almost no weapons on the team. I don't think they're going to do very good this year. But besides Jacoby Brissett, they got KJ Osborne. I believe he was a number 3 or 4 receiver for Minnesota. Austin Hooper, the tight end. I believe he came from Cleveland. Chukwuma Okorafor. He was their new starting tackle, but he was benched last season for the Steelers. He's projected now to be their starting left tackle. And impact draft picks that are going to get a start right away or very soon. Jalen Polk, wide receiver. I believe he was from Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May, as we said, currently their number 2 quarterback on the depth chart. And then Caden Wallace, tackle, currently listed as second string as well, but I expect probably to take that job from Okorafor. Now, going to their schedule, they have one primetime game, and that's against the Jets at New York, week 3, and then the European game again versus the Jets in week 8.
I totally forgot there was a European game this year.
There's a bunch of them, honestly.
Where is it at?
I want to say this one's London.
Okay.
So I believe they're over under. Nick, if you can confirm for the season.
It's 4.5.
Favorited for the under?
Yes, minus 160. No, minus 160 is the over. The under 4.5 is plus 130.
Personally, this is an argument that me and Matt had. I think we could potentially see the first 0-17 team in NFL history.
No, that's not going to happen.
No, they're not.
Yeah. The NFL's too good. I mean, you have to imagine, all of these players are still drafted at some point. I mean, the team is still going to be, have good players. They're going to sneak up and beat somebody.
I get that, and that's
these guys are.
Go on, Matt.
They're still, they're still trying to play for their own contracts. You know what I mean? Even when it's late in the season, there's always big upsets with teams like them. They're not going to go 17-0. They ain't, or 0-17. They ain't that bad.
I mean, I just don't see where they're good at. Outside of their outside linebacker and Judon, their second-year corner coming back from, I believe, an Achilles injury, and Christian Gonzalez, who was a stud last year. They don't have anything on the defensive side.
I don't think it matters, though. It
that
doesn't,
we know of yet.
It doesn't matter, though. I mean, there's 17 games. They're going to win one. It could be anywhere. I mean, it could be it could be as easy as week 3 or something. It's a primetime game. It's early before New England even knows if they're fucking shit or not.
I mean, I think everyone knows they're shit.
Yeah, but when you're on the team,
you're
trying to prove it.
I think they'll sneak away a win somewhere, but I think that if there were to be an 0-17 team, this is a team that could. And Vegas agrees because this team is not favored to win a single game on their schedule this season. They are the underdog in every game, weeks 1 through 18. I think they'll sneak away with a win. If they do, I think it'll be week 18 versus the Bills when they're resting their guys because their season's
they'll win before
they're trying to get to the wild card.
Yeah, I think they'll win before that.
I think they can pull 3 off, man. I think their 4 is about 3. I think they're going to be a little bit better. There's just going to be some people that step up. I think they got a lot of wide receivers right now. I think a couple of them could pop. They got.
Outside of Polk, they got. Was it Duggins?
Got Polk, Pop Douglas.
Yeah, Pop Douglas.
Yeah, he's an athlete, dude. He can make some plays. They got Pop Douglas, Polk. They drafted that Javon Baker. They got KJ Osborne. They still got Juju on the roster. he's still employed by him. And then Tyquan Thornton.
What happened to that guy?
What?
TikTok.
His knees, man. I mean, that's what it sounds like. Is the last couple of years, his knees have just been terrible.
All right, let's go over to the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have their floor as 0-17, obviously. Their ceiling 4, but I think the under of 4.5 wins is a pretty good bet to take, especially with it being plus money.
Dude, the Jets are just so tough because, I mean, like, with what happened last year with Rodgers, like, it just scares you so much. Like, you want to think they can be good because they do have a good team. Like, last year, they were literally just missing the quarterback. Well, their offensive line was a little bit dookie, but
yeah, the O-line was bad, but
like,
they did do a lot this offseason to try to put attention to it. I mean, I'll talk about some of their losses and gains in the offseason. So, losses, they lost Bryce Huff, their defensive end. They lost Jordan Whitehead, their starting safety. They did lose Dwayne Brown, one of their tackles. He wasn't the best, but he was a starter. Connor McGovern, their center, who was one of the better guys. Mekhi Becton, who kind of underperformed. I believe he was an early draft pick, probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Bryce Hall, their number 2 corner. They did gain, though, however, Mike Williams, a stud receiver, going year 30.
Coming off an Achilles injury, I believe.
Yeah,
either that or ACL. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the lower bodies that ended up putting him out for the rest of the season. Hassan Reddick, defensive edge, great player, coming from the Eagles, I believe. Tyron Smith.
Yeah, well, okay.
Go on, Matt.
I was just gonna say with Reddick, it just came out like he's holding out, like he don't. The Eagles aren't trying to give him a contract or something. They just traded for him and they won't pay him.
Oh, the Jets. I think I did remember hearing something about that.
No, the Eagles. The Jets traded him to the. Oh wait, no, I got it.
Yeah, you got it reversed.
I'm sorry, I totally got it backwards. Yeah. He won't report to camp with the Jets.
Yeah, I still expect he'll come back and play. They'll probably figure something out. I mean, they traded for him for a reason. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. A lot of these dudes they want their extensions now. They're not trying to wait till they get injured and their value goes down.
Yeah.
Then they got Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. Used to be one of the best tackles in football. Getting kind of older now, having injury problems. But he, when healthy, is still a very good piece. And then Morgan Moses as well. Impact draft picks, they picked up Alu Fashanu early in the draft. I believe it was like pick 7 or 9 or something. Mm-hmm. Malachi Corley to play that number 3 wide receiver, and Braylon Allen as their backup running back. And a pick that I personally love is they got Jordan Travis for the cheap to be their backup QB.
Super cheap.
And he's going to sit and learn behind Aaron Rodgers, hopefully have time to develop. Hopefully that Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy and last longer than 3 plays on the field.
I was about to say hot take. He's playing at some point in the season. He's not sitting there and developing.
That's the whole thing with that team, man. Yeah, because that was their plan with Zach Wilson. You know what I mean? They didn't want him to play last year.
Their over-under scares me at like 9.5.
What is
Yeah,
that?
I do think it's high.
Because all it takes is this guy to get hurt. I mean, I can't see a way where he doesn't get at least a little banged up and miss a game or 2.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's 41, I think, this season.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
But
difference, though,
and even then, like, he's getting older, and we haven't seen him play for
2 years.
2 years now, you know? Like, is he even going to be the same? Like,
I think he'll know a lot
the
week
Jets
1.
are just the biggest question mark.
Yeah, it is a huge question mark. However, even if he does decline, I do think the team around him has gotten better. The O-line, I think, has definitely improved from last season. I think the wide receivers have gotten better because before it was, like, in my opinion, just Garrett Wilson. I didn't really think any of the other guys were notable. So I think they got more depth. Opinion. They got better starters. I think they have better protection. I think we could see a better offense, even if Aaron Rodgers isn't the Aaron Rodgers that we love and remember.
I hope he is, dude.
I like their over. I don't think their schedule is very difficult, especially with teams like the Bills. Not really. In my opinion, they got worse with how many pieces they lost, and we'll talk about them in a second. Dolphins not really getting that much better defensively. And then it looks like their non-conference game or out-of-division games like the Vikings, Titans.
Man, they got the 49ers week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I count that one as a loss. Monday
You know,
prime time.
honestly, I would take their under. I mean, the AFC is tough this year, man. I mean, the Patriots, I guess, being in their division will help them out a lot, but they got a lot of tough teams.
Yeah, I mean, me personally. So go ahead and give me your floor and ceiling real quick for them.
I mean, I would say their four is probably like, well, honestly, you know, with what we were saying with Aaron Rodgers, like their four is 4 wins. I mean, for real, depending on what happens with Aaron, I would say like 7 or 8. I'll go 7.
7 for the
Their
floor.
ceiling, yeah. Their ceiling, I mean, they could be, you know, a 13-win team. Like, I don't see why, you know, if Aaron Rodgers is good, you know, if he's the worst version of himself we've ever seen, that's still really good. And like I said, the rest of their defense is ready. Like, they're just waiting for someone to come along and score some points.
Yeah, and that was my big thing with them, too. Is like, even though they did lose some core pieces on the defense, they found a way to replace it. And same with the O-line. Like, they lost some pieces, but they made them better.
Yeah, sure.
I have their floor at 9 wins. I think their schedule isn't the most difficult. I think they did get better as a team. As long as Aaron Rodgers doesn't go out on play 3 of week 1, I see them hitting that ceiling, or I mean that floor. And I have their ceiling at 12. And that's probably one of the
9.
Yeah, floor of 9, ceiling at 12, and that's if everything hits. Aaron Rodgers healthy and doesn't really miss a beat.
Yeah.
But it's one of the wider ones that I have, specifically because these guys, they're hard to gauge, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, 9 wins last year in the AFC, missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's go Bills.
All right, Bills. I believe their over-under is 10. 10 and a half?
10 and a half.
Wild to me. Very large
just
list.
Just because they lost Stephon Diggs?
I mean, they lost more than Stephon Diggs. So they lost Stephon Diggs. They lost Gabe Davis. And they're 1 and 2 wide receiver. They lost Tre'Davious White, their 1 corner. They lost both of their safeties in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. They lost one of their edge rushers in Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
So now they only have fucking Von Miller, who in recent years is one of the most overrated edge rushers in the league.
Oh, I mean, he's getting older. I mean, he's starting to decline for sure. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think right now he's living off a name value over everything, similar to like Khalil Mack.
He's probably getting to that point of his career a little bit.
For sure. And then Gaines, they got Curtis Samuel to be wide receiver. So it's going to be him and their draft pick of Keon Coleman leading their receiving core. Taylor Rapp is their new safety, who's not bad. Well, yeah, that's a tight end. I'm talking about wide receivers. And then they still got, Shakur, who ended up playing pretty solid at the end of the season. But
Khalil Shakur.
Yeah, Khalil Shakur.
He's their slot guy.
Yeah, like he's solid. I don't think he's anything special. They get Taylor Rapp to play safety for him, and they picked up La'el Collins to play tackle, which I think is huge. But
yeah,
impact draft picks to projected to start right away. Keon Coleman, Cole Bishop at safety, and then a pick that I liked. They don't have him starting, but I feel like will very soon. Is Cedric Van Pran at center? He came from Georgia. I thought he was one of the best centers in the draft, and I think he was picked up in like round 3 or 4. So now their projected over-under is 10.5. Matt, what do you feel about that?
So honestly, now I am a little bit worried about their defense. I loved Hyde and Poyer. I thought they were one of the best safety duos in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am losing White. I mean, I think he's a little bit. I think he really just had one good year.
He was solid for a while, but he's starting to get a little bit older. Definitely lost a step.
Yeah. So with them, I don't think their offense is going to miss a beat. I think everyone's worried about, because they're the number 1 wide receiver. I don't think they're going to miss a beat, man. I think it's just going to be like Tyreek Hill leaving the Patriots. I think Josh Allen is just that good, and they got. Did I say Patriots? Yeah, Chiefs. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I think that like Curtis Samuel is good. Like he is a good wide receiver.
I think he's a
they
great
can
number
use him in
two.
many different ways.
I think he's a great
Yeah,
number two.
and everything coming out of camp from what the coach is saying, it does not seem like Keon Coleman is that ready.
Yeah, so that was my thing with him. I love Keon Coleman.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he
just
could
raw,
be a
man.
solid player, but yeah, like you said, raw.
Yeah,
He's got a lot to work
Yeah.
on. He's got to develop his route trees a lot. I think they want him to be the number one. I just don't think he's ready to be the number one.
it might take. I mean, hey, by the end of the season, you know, he could be destroying, but I think it'll definitely take him a minute to go on. And I think I mentioned Dalton Kincaid because I mean they're going to use him like he's a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like he's out there to catch the ball.
Yeah, for sure. And then they got the other tight end that they drafted fairly high a few years ago.
Kraft. I always want to say Kraft, but I feel like it's not Kraft.
Yeah, he was in Sam Laporta's year, I think, or maybe a year before.
No, that's Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid got drafted with.
You're right. You're right. I'm tripping.
All right, floor and ceiling.
But I got them. I got their four at 10.
Really, 10
Ceiling,
wins.
You know, ceiling is AFC championship.
I have their floor at 7 wins and their ceiling at 10.
God,
I think this is a team that's going to struggle, especially very early. They don't really have the friendliest schedules. I mean, so you got your division with the Dolphins and the Jets. Yeah. And then you still have to play teams
Patriots.
like the Ravens, the Texans, Titans, Colts, Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. Like, they didn't draw up many friendly matchups for a team that I feel like has to find their identity.
Yeah, I mean they started terrible last year, right? I mean they started like 2-6 or something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, I know they had a rough start. They ended up picking it up a lot in the back end.
Yeah, you have time to figure it out in the NFL. And I mean, their defense has to be above average. You know, we got to see how all these replacements do. But, like, Josh Allen's just that good, man. He's just one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, also a lot of people's concern that I've seen is Josh Allen's rise to stardom matched perfectly with Stephon Diggs coming over to the Bills.
dude.
So,
no.
Personally, I don't think 1 and 1 equals 2. I like Josh Allen. I still think he's a top QB in the league, but I am worried now that they don't have an identity for number 1 receiver. Keon Coleman doesn't look like he's going to be ready for that right away. He could potentially turn into that, but I don't think it's going to be this season. And I don't know, man. This team does scare me, and I'm kind of sitting on their under.
I like them.
All right, to the Dolphins.
Love the Dolphins. I think this is the year they finally get a playoff win. I know it's been a minute.
I think the Dolphins offensively, they're a powerhouse, right? They got so much fucking speed, it's impossible to defend it.
Speed kills.
Yeah, they're proven that if you are just fast, you can figure it out. So, but they did lose a lot of pieces this year. Christian Wilkins, they're
all defensive players.
Starting D tackle for the longest time.
But didn't their defense suck?
Their defense wasn't good, and they didn't do a lot to address it, which is why I'm concerned.
So how much worse can it get? I mean, you might be better off just starting some of the guys you drafted.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They didn't draft anything.
Who'd they get?
In the first round, they got Chop Robinson. And
Chop will start.
Who? Yeah, Shaquille Barrett. I'll get there. So notable losses.
Well, you said they didn't draft anybody good on defense.
Shaquille Barrett wasn't a draft. He was a free agent.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he retired a couple days ago.
Shaquille Barrett did?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't see that?
No, I did not see that.
Never mind. Scratch.
He's retired. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, they picked him up this offseason.
Is Chop Robinson the guy from Florida State?
Nope.
Penn State.
Oh.
So notable losses. They lost Christian Wilkins. They lost Robert Hunt, their starting guard. They lost Xavier Howard, their starting corner, who starting to get older, was losing some steps.
Yeah, he wasn't
Fuck
that
Van
good.
Ginkel.
Andrew Van Ginkel, their middle linebacker. Jerome Baker, one of their outside linebackers. And Melvin Ingram, their edge player. They did gain, however. I had Shaquille Barrett. I guess I have to scratch him off with him retiring. God, he retired young.
Yep.
Jordan Brooks
We're
from...
going to be seeing that a lot, dude.
I believe it, but geez, I need to look at that. I didn't even hear about it. Jordan Brooks, linebacker. Believe he came from Philly. Kendall Fuller, corner. Last spot I knew he played was in Washington. He might have played at Houston for a little bit. Decent piece. Usually probably like a number 2, maybe a number 3 corner on most teams. Jonnu Smith to play tight end. And Anthony Walker at linebacker. He's fairly young. I like him. He's not anything great, but he's solid. But in the draft, they just didn't really address many issues. Like, their biggest pick was Chop Robinson, who is a huge development guy. One of the most pure edge rushing athletes there is, but the man has, like, almost no technique. So he's a piece that's going to have to develop, and I think can potentially be good in the future. But right away, I just don't see it. So this defense, to me, has gotten crippled.
I mean, speaking from a guy that actually watched some Dolphins game last year, I mean, Dolphins, in my opinion, can just outscore 50% of the teams they play against.
Yeah, their issue last season, though, was every time they played a good team, their offense slowed down. Their defense already couldn't stop the better teams.
Yeah, but I mean, even the
Patriots defense killed them.
Yeah. I think if
and
they
had
can
to
just
play in like the freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if they can just get to the playoffs, you saw last year when they played in fucking Kansas City and it was snowing sideways and shit and it was freezing, icicles hanging off stuff. I mean, I think they can keep games close like that. I mean, I don't think their defense is so bad or they're going to get blown out.
That's what happened a lot last year in the regular season. Like, they snuck into the playoffs because of how bad they were against some of these better teams.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the first, 5 games?
Yeah, you got Jaguars, Bills, at Seattle, Titans, at New England.
So you could realistically start off 5-0 like they did last year. Start off hot, get a bunch of wins right off the bat.
But look at the end of the schedule.
From there.
And at the beginning of the year, it's a lot easier to play offense.
For sure.
A lot easier to score at the beginning of the year.
I mean, they realistically
that's the thing.
Could go 8-0 to start the season.
Yeah, they could. But, I mean, let's listen from weeks 13 to 18. At Packers, home against the Jets. At Houston, home against the Niners. At Cleveland, at the Jets. That's a tough back end of the schedule, and I could see them losing every single one of those games if they can't figure out how to beat these better teams that are all around better.
That can get stopped. Yeah. I mean, that's a good stretch, though. I like it when teams like that have their tough stretch, like, towards the end of the season. So you get, you
try to
really
find that
see
identity.
how people are trending. Yeah. Because that's the thing, we're sitting here talking about, their defense and how they can't score, but they got better on offense, man.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about it. This would be, the second year where Tua's, like, fully healthy?
Hopefully.
In theory.
Yeah.
And you're going to be throwing to the 2 guys,
last year.
the same 2 guys again.
I mean, yeah, he led the league in passing last year.
No, I mean, same one guy, but like Jonnu Smith, I think that was a great addition. I think, like, I can't remember, Smythe, can't remember his first name. Their tight end last year. Are you saying
some one guy, as in Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. Yeah, saying they got
Jalen Waddle didn't perform very well last year.
Yeah, but I mean...
Yeah, he wasn't...
But that's just because they're throwing the ball so much.
He will be awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Waddle's great. He just had an underperforming year. But, yeah, Tyreek Hill was definitely main priority. And then, I mean, they had Raheem Mostert and they had...
A-Chain.
Yeah.
A-Chan. Which, watch out for him, dude.
Yeah.
He was insane when he played last year, dude.
I think he's only going to get better.
So I think if this team can stay healthy...
It was a very small sample size.
He was a dog at Texas A&M. Hard to stop.
Yeah. He was, like, statistically the greatest running back ever during his stretch.
When healthy.
Small sample size. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's tiny. He's going to get hurt for sure. That's going to happen.
All right. You want to do AFC East?
Well, we still have to do floor and ceiling.
Okay.
So their line's at 9.5. I personally have their floor at 8 wins, and I have their ceiling at 11.
I would just agree. I'll give them 12. Their ceiling's 12.
Yeah.
I'll give them 7 and 12.
I think this team will start hot. I think they'll have a crushing end of the year, probably make the wild card, and I think they'll get beat down in the wild card.
All right, then
I think
let's
they're
roll
winning
right
their
in.
first playoff game, dude.
So let's roll right in to your 1 through 4. So who is your AFC East champion?
The AFC East champion is terrifying because between the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins, they're all like, who the fuck knows what this team's going to look like? I think I have the Jets winning the AFC East. How about you, Matt?
Jets? What?
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to go Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots.
I was going to go Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Patriots.
And I'm Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Pets.
Jets, that's hot, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a team that goes from worst to first, so it's not a bad one.
All right, AFC South. Starting off with fucking Sketch's team here.
All right, so we got the Texans. Their over-under line is 10.
I can confirm.
All right, while he's confirming that, let's go straight into notable losses and gains.
It's 9.5.
9.5?
On Hard Rock.
All right. Notable losses. They didn't really lose a lot to this team. They lost Devin Singletary, lost Sheldon Rankins, their D-tackle. Their gains, though, they got Stephon Diggs, who's coming off like 6 or 7 straight 1,000-plus yard seasons. One of the better wide receivers in football. They gained Joe Mixon, who isn't the greatest, but he sparks randomly multiple times throughout the year and is a solid running back.
Dude, he is great.
Go ahead and talk about him.
About Joe Mixon?
Yeah, I heard you say
I think
something.
he's going to be so... Yeah, I said he is great. I think he's going to be insane for them. I mean, he's getting older, so obviously the health thing for sure, 100%. But, I mean, Joe Mixon has been one of the best, what am I trying to say, full-time backs in the league. You know what I mean? Like, he can handle the load. He's a great goal line back. I think, well, with the threat of their passing game, and he's also great in the passing game, of course.
Yeah.
But with the threat of their passing game, he's going to be running free, dude. I think he's going to have such a good season.
I really like Joe Mixon, and I still like their backup running back, the kid from Florida. He underperformed heavily last season.
Dameon Pierce?
Yeah, I'm still big on Dameon Pierce. I believe in the dude. He runs so fucking angry. I would like to see him kind of come back.
Man.
Yeah, last season he was just a cone.
I know we're
Yeah, I
getting
was pretty big
technical,
on him.
talking about, who they gained, who they lost. Mike, does it pain you to watch Houston be successful because their quarterback plays well?
I mean, yeah, the only Ohio State quarterback to ever do anything in his year.
After Mike told everyone in America, this guy's a bust. He's dumb as shit. He can't read defenses.
Oh, yeah. I heard it a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
I thought he would be bad.
Stupid.
Had one good year.
You know what that shows you?
We got to see if he has a sophomore slump.
You know what that shows you? I've been saying it for years. The NFL draft for quarterbacks is fucking pointless.
Oh, yeah, it's throwing a fucking dart at a dartboard.
It's such a shit show.
It is absolutely pointless. Because look how stupid everyone is. Looking at Joe Milton was one of the worst quarterbacks in the SEC last year. He goes out there to the draft and he fucking throws like an 80-yard pass in the air, and then you got guys out there just jerking each other off and like, look how far he just threw it. He just completed that pass.
Yeah, but he was still drafting like the 5th round.
Doesn't matter. He should be undrafted. He's fucking terrible. Ask Tennessee how he is.
It's just because he's got the tools. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude's dumb as fuck.
If you got the tools,
you're drafting potential for a future backup QB.
You know what he is?
Because
he is a Paul Skeens fastball with no other pitches. So eventually, that shit gets taken yard.
Fucking kills people though.
Yeah, when he can hit somebody. Dude, he was terrible. He was one of the worst Tennessee quarterbacks I've watched. Look, he is so bad.
I agree with you. But, back to the topic. They gained Daniel Hunter, edge rusher, who's been super fucking good over there in Minnesota. Danico Autry to play that nose guard. It's been solid piece, stuffing the run. And then Mario Williams is a little bit older. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get or if he's going to be a starter or kind of like a veteran locker room guy. Impact draft picks. They picked up Kamari Lassiter in the second round, who's going to be the number 2 corner next to Derek Stingley. And then Blake Fisher, who right now is projected to be a backup tackle, but I could see him moving over to that right tackle spot. So let's go over floor and ceilings real quick. Matt, go ahead and lead it.
I mean, it's tough because I want to zig because everyone's so high on them, so it makes me not want to be so high on them. But dude, their offense should be ridiculous. They are loaded everywhere. They got a good line. Oh, I mean, probably debatable with the Bears, but probably the best wide receiver core in the league. Both their tight ends are awesome. Dalton Schultz and Jordan Brevin. He's a great wide receiver tight end or receiving tight end. So, I mean, I'll give them one of the higher. Well, I'll give them 14 and 10 for their four. I'll give them 9. I'll give them 10 for their 4.
Okay. I gave them 9 wins for their floor, 12 for their ceiling. And, I mean, this is a team that I'm scared about because, this team performed extremely better than most people's expectations last season. They went from going from the 2nd overall pick to going to the divisional round and having a fucking throwdown with, I believe it was the Chiefs, right? Or was it the Ravens?
Honestly, I am totally blanking.
I think it was the Ravens, and it came down to a game-winning drive.
The Chiefs and the Ravens, but yeah, I believe so.
So I think it came to a game-winning drive with the Ravens winning at the end, but it was a fucking battle.
Yeah,
and
they kicked the shit out of the Browns. That was awesome to see.
A ton of the players, though, no one expected them to be anything great last season starting the year.
Yeah.
No one had high expectations for Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They weren't high on people's board. And they just made insane booms and came out as, some of the top guys in the league last season.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see if they'll continue that or if it was just kind of a random, I call it just a freshman hot start type thing.
See, here's the thing, though. Because, their third wide receiver at the last year was Noah Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He had multiple games of 150 yards plus.
Yeah.
2 games of it.
Yeah, it seemed like that entire core was rotating on who was going for almost 200 every week.
Yeah, and now instead of that guy, you got Stephon Diggs running around. I know, now teams have film on C.J. Stroud, so, it's going to be different. People are going to be playing for him better. But he may just be awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if he keeps it up or if people get disappointed because, like you said earlier, how high people have hopes for this team. They could very well hit a sophomore slump and, all of a sudden people's what the fuck happened? These guys were good last year. But with it being, a lot of these players' only year where they have performed at such a high level, a sophomore slump isn't out of the question. I don't think it will happen. And, I mean, Houston, especially second-year head coach now. Last year was their first. I believe he was an interim coach at the very end. No, because Lovie Smith ended up fucking it up and took them from number 1 overall pick to number 2 by beating someone at the very end of a game. But they went all out.
D'Amico Ryan's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he turned this team, and they went all out this offseason. They're going for that championship contender status. We just have to see if everyone else continues to perform, how they perform, and keep developing in the upwards direction. So I think it's easily a team, as long as they hit their projections, should make the playoffs, could make in their deep run. I could see a battle in the divisional round, maybe the AFC Championship. I think that's the ceiling for them. Game-wise, for the regular season, I have floor at 9, ceiling at 12.
Okay. Respectable.
Right, to the Jags.
Oh, fuck the Jags, dude.
Yeah, I'm
Trevor
not very
Lawrence.
big on
They're
them.
so hard.
Shit, or get off the
Yeah.
pot season.
Yeah, it's definitely like they need to show something because they are just so average. Like that's just the best way. Like their defense is mid. Like they're not bad, but like they're not anything special at all. Their offense, like yeah, I remember watching those games. Like I won or I lost like multiple bets because of either Calvin Ridley got a touchdown called back or he dropped a touchdown.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff not
Like,
go their way
dude,
in the end zone.
yeah,
Like in the end zone.
yes,
Feet out of
yes, like
bounds
an
or
insane
bobbling
amount.
in, and
Mhm.
especially too
Yeah,
because
like,
a lot of
they
their
should have
games
been
were
so
low
much
scoring.
better.
So it was like that lost you the game.
Yeah, like they, because that's the thing. Like watching it last year, like it just seems, like the vibe you just get is just that. Well, this team isn't that exciting to watch.
They just they're
So like if those things happen, if they go down, then they are. You know what I mean? So
I mean, they don't have no juice, it looks like, in my opinion. It looks like they're going through the motions. It looks like no one on the team's excited. There's no excitement on the sideline. Just like
It
they're
was a
out
team
there
without
playing.
an identity.
Yeah, they're just out
Yeah.
there playing. And it doesn't help when your Trevor Lawrence has got to be a leader, and he's just, I don't know. I think they got to get rid of him, in my opinion. But
I don't hate Trevor Lawrence, but I think
they
he's
just
been
gave him the
super
bag.
disappointing. Yeah, they did. He's now the most paid quarterback in the league.
it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, they just shot themselves in the foot.
He's- I mean, the thing is, that's just the way contracts are moving.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He just happened to be the next because like that's the thing.
He
Like
happened to be the next page out.
he's not bad enough to where you want to get rid of him, but he hasn't been good enough to where you want to give him that.
No,
So
and the
they were
dice
just
hasn't
in the
really
middle
rolled in
and-
his direction either. I mean, year one, you
Exactly,
had
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Urban Meyer and that disaster that was happening in Jacksonville. And then this year, it seemed like the offensive coordinator, head coach wasn't clicking a lot, and he was injured for a lot of it with some sort of rib injury. But I mean, I don't know. This is a team that
he
like
was hurt pretty bad all year.
they
Yeah.
had so much potential. Last season, I was huge on them. It didn't work out. And this year, I just don't see what their identity is. So they lost Calvin Ridley. They gained Eric Armstead, solid D tackle from 49ers. They
Got Brian
picked
Thomas.
up Gabe Davis, which I thought was weird.
Yep.
Picked up Mitch Morris, which solid. Darnell Savage, average guy in the league now. Loved him when he was younger, but never really boomed to me. But then their draft, they picked up Brian Thomas Jr., which was stupid, in my opinion. I like Brian Thomas. I think he's a solid receiver. I think he's a better version of Gabe Davis.
So yeah, he's going to be a dog.
But at
dude.
pick 17, I felt like their need was in the cornerback room when you had the stud from Toledo, Alabama's corner. You had Clemson's guy, Nate Wiggins, I think. Like, I thought that was a more vital piece that they needed, and I just didn't understand the pick. It's like,
I mean, with how the market was moving and everything, you know what I mean? Like everyone was taking their guys, and with the fifth, everyone wants that fifth-year option for him. So that's why everyone was really reaching on him in the first round. But I mean, I think it's a fine pick. Dude. I love it. I mean, I think he's a little bit more than what people are saying.
yeah, I mean, I think
he's
he's
gotta
the
develop a
Jarvis
little bit.
Landry to Malik Neighbors, Odell Beckham.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, Jarvis Landry was awesome. I mean,
He was awesome in Miami.
I mean,
He was solid for a year or two in the Browns, but he was never the
he was good in
superstar.
Cleveland.
I just think it's
I mean, he was never a superstar in
Miami when he was the
I
only
think
option.
Brian Thomas definitely has. He was just a reception hog.
Yeah.
Dude was just good for 15 points in fantasy every week, dude, in PPR.
I think this team in general just has a ton of potential, but in general, I don't think this is going to be the year for them. I have their floor at 6 wins and their ceiling at 8.
Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to like them a lot more. But they are. I also do think their division is really tough
Yeah,
with the
tough
Colts
division.
and the Texans.
And then they have to play the NFC North and the
I'll
AFC
give
West.
them. We haven't mentioned Travis Etienne yet. He's one of the better backs in the league. Don't forget about him.
I think he's above average. I don't think he's hit that boom yet. That I just feel like the team hasn't ran in the offense
Dude, he
that
was
he
awesome.
excels in.
Dude, he's been awesome.
Let him have
I mean,
it,
I don't know his stats off the top of my head, but like he's been one of the better like top 5 the last couple of years. definitely last year. But I got them. I'll go a little higher on them. I think they're going to go above 500 this year. Well, actually, no, because they'll have the.
I was gonna say I do not have them.
I'll go 4-8. I'll go 4-8 and ceiling 10.
All right. I believe their line was 8.5 for the season as well.
All right, to the Colts.
Okay.
So this is one that me and Matt are going to argue
8.5. Jags. Jags are 8.5.
That's what I thought.
Where are the Colts?
I believe 8.5 as well.
So I think I am insanely high on the Colts. I think they're going to be so good. I think they got a solid defense, and people aren't sleeping on Anthony Richardson. Mike's sleeping on Anthony Richardson, but everyone else that knows stuff knows that he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, sure. A quarterback who played 4
Jonathan
games,
Taylor back,
had
dude.
less than, I think it was 60% completion percentage.
Watch
Never really got to
the
play
game,
anything.
dude. Go watch him.
Yep.
Go quit giving
Sure,
me
I'll
stats,
watch him
bro.
get
Go
injured.
watch
The dude's
him.
not good. Never been a good passer
he has
at any
some
point in his
flashes,
fucking
man.
career. All he is a dude that can run and try to be Cam Newton, but we figured Cam Newton out 8 years ago.
Dude, and Cam Newton only lost 1 game in a season and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because he was the first of his
So,
fucking
I
kind
mean,
at the time. No one knew how to
it can
stop a
lead to
fucking
success.
6'6", 260 monster
Well,
that can run.
I don't think that's something that you can scheme and stop. I think that's just a freak athlete that's fast and
Yeah,
big running downhill.
Because he's even bigger than Cam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
is.
Cam was a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Cam could actually throw the ball. You're forgetting the main concept of comparatively,
Cam Newton
yes.
had no.
Cam Newton,
Cam Newton had absolutely no touch.
Okay.
Throwing the
Okay,
football.
hold on.
He was,
First
he
off,
was not
we're
a good,
talking
he
about
wasn't.
a Heisman
He
Trophy
wasn't.
winner.
Yeah, no, yeah, in college, you're an Auburn fan, aren't you?
Yeah. But
Yeah, so
you
your
could
opinion that-
you could never convince me that AR here is a better quarterback than Cam Newton. I'm agreeing with you that Mike sleeping on
AR
him.
throws a better ball.
He might throw a better ball,
Sure,
but
he
he
could
complete
launch it 90 fucking yards in a perfect spiral. Doesn't mean he could hit his fucking target. Put a bullseye on the field. He's 20 yards off it.
Cam Newton was not a good thrower. He was not that good of a thrower of the football.
And Anthony Richardson is atrocious.
He's not atrocious.
He has
dude.
no
He has
accuracy
good-
and
He's
zero
in the-
touch.
he's in the
He
middle
has to
of
learn
both
how to
field.
play in the NFL.
He's in the middle
He
of both.
has the
field.
talent.
He could easily
got the
take
talent.
them and turn them into a competitor. But I just worried that he's
And they got the
he's got to
team
slide.
for it. Their team's good. They won like 8 games with Gardner Minshew last year.
Gardner Minshew's a better
got a
thrower
good-
of the
they
football
got a-
than Anthony
Hold
Richardson.
on. If you're gonna sit here and say
Dude.
Gardner Minshew is better, he's not.
He
Mike.
can throw the football better.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna lead
He can
them
get the
better.
ball
No,
to his
he's
receivers.
just a hater, dude. He's just a hater.
I mean,
Anyway,
He already
didn't
lives
AR in
on
those
the-
first 4 games pretty much single-handedly win them the game every time?
Yes.
Yes.
By hurting
That's
himself.
why it's
He got a
it's so
season
annoying
injury
that he
and
just
still
sits
today
there
in camp,
and-
not confirmed if he's healthy to play.
Okay, but
His
that's something
shoulder
you
is
learn.
still fucked up, and he still
Yeah.
has yet to throw the football.
That's something you learn, though.
Yeah, but like he's like the same way with Lamar. Like Lamar doesn't have to have crazy passing stats because he can be so efficient with his running can just save possessions.
Okay, but Lamar Jackson's also a good thrower of the football.
I mean, it's the same
Like,
with
you're-
Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen,
a good
does the
thrower
same
of the
stuff.
football.
He wasn't though.
Yeah, to
Josh
start,
Allen was
but he had
not
one
a
of the
good
best
thrower of the
development
football.
coaches in the league and
Everyone
was able to
saying
turn
the
into that.
same stuff. Everyone was saying the same stuff about Josh Allen.
Just
that
because
you
it happened
say
with one QB doesn't
about-
mean it happens with the next. Josh Allen was a
He's got the
miracle
stuff
development
to-
project that worked and is now a stud. That does not mean the same thing will happen with Anthony Richardson, who has not shown any promise of being a good thrower of the football.
See that is ridiculous. Yes, he showed promise last
No,
year.
he did not.
He
He
blew
threw good
expectations out of the water in the first 4
With
games.
his fucking legs.
Yes.
And
Doesn't
that
matter.
is what got him injured.
It doesn't matter. It's what you do to win the football game.
Yeah.
And who were the teams that he beat last season?
Dude, it doesn't matter. The fucking Colts. Okay, they came out with low
the
expectations.
He beat the Ravens.
I mean, getting hurt running the ball is something you learn because you have everyone around you telling you, hey, you can't take hits like this in the NFL. But you're like, I just did this for 4 years in college. So sometimes they don't understand it until an injury like this happens. So, I mean, I think he's going to be smarter.
They did not beat the Ravens. Wait, timeout.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the wrong team.
Because they shouldn't have. The Ravens actually kind of got cheated out of the game. But the final score says that they beat them.
That's all that matters. Don't get Mike started on this fucking technical victory shit.
They lost to the Jags week 1, beat the Texans week 2, beat the Ravens by 3, lost to the Rams.
In
So he went 2-2.
And Ravens.
The Texans game, he played great. And that was like the whole thing leading up to it was C.J. Stroud versus AR, and AR played the better game.
He probably didn't finish the Rams game also.
He didn't finish the Texans game. So in that, he went 6 for 10 completion attempts, 56 total yards, no touchdowns. Ran the ball 3 times for 35 yards. Gardner Minshew was the starter for the majority of that game. 3 carries, 35 yards, 6
You have got to
6
stop
completions, 10 throws. Gardner Minshew, 23 attempts for 180 yards and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew won them this game.
First
Anthony
off,
Richardson.
hold on. Your problem that you have with 90% of your football takes is they're all stat driven. You gotta watch the fucking game.
Bro,
Yes, and I'll watch the game and see that this dude can't complete the ball to his receivers consistently.
You know what?
Literally just looked at numbers.
Yes,
Because you guys are telling me he single-handedly won a game that he barely fucking played.
We're not talking Mike.
With
Mike,
Gardner
you sound like
better.
a fucking liberal right now. You literally just went to the one game to prove your point. We didn't talk about Rams. We didn't talk about the Rams.
This is the Texans game.
So what did he do in the Texans game?
He had 10 throws, completed 6 out of 10 for 50 yards, had 3 carries for 35 yards.
He got hurt.
got hurt.
Okay.
He barely played. You just said he single-handedly won this game.
I said single-handedly won the first couple games.
This was game 2.
He got hurt in the second game.
Yes, he got hurt multiple times.
I don't know. All I know,
he was impacting.
All
the
I
game
know
in a
is
All right,
when
he barely played week 2. He got injured week 4 for the season injury against the Rams. His only complete games was week 1 and week 3, right? So what happened to those games? Week 1, they lost to the Jags by 10 points. Week 3, they played the Ravens, and that game they won. All right, fine, they won. What did he do? Actually, no, sorry, he didn't even play that fucking game. Gardner Minshew was a full-time starter. So he played 3 games. So what the fuck are y'all talking about?
I mean, I think the problem is you're not watching the football game.
I watched the fucking football game, and I watch how he's not on the field.
No, you can't teach. You can't teach. I don't care how good your completion percentage is. You can't teach a guy on third down that's like, holy shit, we need to extend the drive, and he gets the first down, lowers his shoulder, and boom, he's got the first down. He did that so many times in the first, however many games, Mike.
The 2.5 games he played.
Yes.
Impactful plays, man.
He single-handedly kept the offense on track going down the field.
And if he does that same thing, he's going to have a short career.
No, he could slide. I mean, there's a lot of the times where he just didn't go out of bounds or didn't slide. He's just taking hits. But he's going to learn that.
I just don't see being so big on a dude who's never been good in college,
Dude,
has the smallest sample size in the NFL before he got a season-ending injury, is still not deemed healthy, has yet to throw the ball with his right shoulder. He's in camp throwing the ball with his left fucking arm because he can't throw with his right, and you're telling me he's going to have a great season.
We're not saying he's going to have a great season.
You know what? Here's the difference. Here's the difference. 2 people that are sitting here saying that they've watched him play last year. They say, watch him play, think he's going to do good, and the dude
and we're not sitting here
him forever.
Yes, I mean that's the thing. You have it slanted.
There's a dude who can make highlight plays and a good quarterback. You can have highlight plays and not be a good quarterback.
Mike, we're not talking about him making highlight plays. It's the down and dirty, gritty plays.
Yes. It's the same shit I talk about with Lamar, man.
And Lamar, I am big on.
Look,
But the issue is not every fast quarterback is Lamar. Lamar is mobile and is able to extend plays, but is also able to sit in the pocket and make a fucking accurate pass to his receiver and continue to play that way. If this dude's only way of extending the play is with his fucking legs, he won't last in the NFL. This is not college. Defenses are better, faster, and stronger.
And we're not sitting here. I mean, the difference is you're sitting here and saying the guy's shit. He's not shit.
Yes, because if he continues to perform how he performed, even if it's for a full season, he won't last in this league.
We're not saying that a guy's going to last fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look how, I mean, we're just saying that the guy has talent.
The guy has fucking talent.
Yeah, sure. The guy has physical talent.
He's got the stuff,
he is
man.
not in the top 20 of quarterbacks in this league.
Okay, well,
he's probably not in
you
the
can
top
say
25.
that. You can say that because he's only he has not a big sample size.
And we'll see again this season.
That you're sleeping on the guy. If he has a full healthy season, he single-handedly, mark my words, if he's healthy, I'm going to say that before you lose your fucking mind. If he's healthy, he will single-handedly win them games on offense.
And he will also single-handedly lose them games on offense.
We'll have to wait and see that. I mean, even at Florida, he didn't have all these big turnovers. I mean, that's the thing. He's not a great quarterback, but he does enough to make you win. And he's this big fucking 6'6" guy that's 240 that can get you the first down. I mean, look, no one hated him more in college than me. I thought he was the most overrated guy ever. But look what happens when he leaves Florida. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, look at all these holes. They can't run the ball. They can't fucking do anything hardly on offense. Here he goes, going to pull up stats.
No, I don't have stats, actually. I'm going back to our notes.
He's got talent. He's got the stuff.
He's a physical specimen, but
not,
unfortunately you need more than that to be a quarterback.
Thrower.
All right, let's go to the Titans.
He's a good thrower.
Anyway, I have their floor at 5 wins, ceiling at 8.
At 8? Oh, dude. They're a 12er to me.
They play in the AFC South. They have to play the AFC East, and they have to play the NFC North.
Yeah. You heard me?
I don't know where the fuck you get more than that. Yeah, their ceiling is 8.
Ceiling, yeah.
What do you have?
Their 4, I mean, I'd say 8.
Floor is 8?
Their 4 is 8. Yeah, ceiling's about 12. I think they're going to be awesome.
12?
Like I said, I think he's.
How many teams in the NFL had 12 wins last season? Like 4, maybe.
Well, it's their ceilings for their individual teams. So, like, I mean, I've said it for
almost every fucking team we've talked about.
No. The Bills, they were high, and the Dolphins were like 11. I think I said the Bills, like they could probably they
said
can make
a team earlier was going to have fucking 14.
The Texans. So 2 from each division so far.
Yeah,
but the
reasonable.
AFC is loaded. Like I would not be saying I will not have 2 for like if we would do the NFC. You know what I mean?
Because the
like,
funny thing, hold on,
teams,
this is where it's going to get funny.
That they could do that.
This is where it's going to get funny. We're going to come in and we're going to talk about the Titans. Okay, you're going to talk about Mayo Man, and you're going to talk about how he has all this potential. I'm sure you're going to say that.
No, I'm not very big on
and
Mayo
he
Man.
was
I think he's an
not
average
good
guy
in college.
I think Mayo Man's an average quarterback. I think he has weapons around him.
And I'm telling you that
he is a guy that can throw the ball.
And I would pick AR over Mayo Man. He was not good at Kentucky. I don't think he's this great quarterback that everyone's thinking he's going to turn out to be.
I don't think anyone thinks I don't think anyone's super high on him. He's the starter because they don't really have any other options, but I don't think he's bad.
Yeah.
I think he's a solid thrower of the football, but he has good weapons around him.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to put up a good fantasy year because they have great weapons. And their defense sucks. So I think they're going to be literally their running backs or receiving running backs. Like I think they're going to throw the ball a ton, and he's going to be like Sam Darnold not Sam Darnold, Sam Howell of last year.
That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful. He's a backup now.
It's
not disrespectful. He's not good, Mike. Sam Howell.
I'm not saying you're to be disrespectful towards Sam Howell. I'm saying you're disrespecting fucking Mayo Man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be out. I'm just saying in the way of like Sam Howell was not as good as the stats said he was.
No, he wasn't, but I only didn't like
I think it's going to be like that.
We'll talk about Sam Howell when we get to the NFC. Because I don't think he was as good as his stats show, but I don't think he was as bad as make him a backup and
think
waste a
this
top
guy's
3
bad.
pick.
He was
Anyway,
pretty fucking bad.
Anyway, floor and ceiling for the Titans. They lost Derrick Henry. They lost their D tackle on Danico Autry. They lost Ryan Tannehill. They benched
Is
or
Derrick
got injured
Henry-
last season anyway.
Is Derrick Henry
Yeah,
that big of a loss?
Yeah, I mean, he was on pace to get like 2,000 yards last season.
Oh yeah, just wait till he
My-
gets the Ravens, dude.
Yeah. Me and Matt have already had disagreements about Derrick Henry. He is still bona fide. Last time he played football was one of the best running backs in the league.
Last time.
Last season.
But go let's wrap up the.
So that's the
So-
guys they lost. They gained L'Jarius Sneed, the starting corner from the Chiefs. He's a stud. They gained Tony Pollard, who was on an off year as the starter for the Cowboys. I think this is a system that better goes to his value. And I'm not big on him, but I don't hate him.
You were big on him last year.
I was huge on him last year. Now I'm humbled
Yeah, you
about him.
drafted him pretty high last year.
And they picked up Calvin
okay, so
Ridley
was
to be
America.
their number 2 wide receiver, which is a role that I think he'll be much
He's
better at.
going to be so good.
So they got they got Calvin Ridley, they got Josh Downs, and they got DeAndre Hopkins as their weapons. Impact draft picks, they got J.C. Latham to be their starting tackle from Alabama, and then Devondre Sweat to be their nose over from Texas. So I think they have a ton of young talent on this team. I think they're getting away from the run-heavy scheme that they've had for the longest time with Derrick Henry, and they're going to go into more of a gunslinging spread-type offense, which is where I think Will Levis is going to be better for.
Did you say gunslinging offense is better for Will Levis?
Because I think he
Do
can
you
sit in the
know
pocket.
what he did in college?
Yes, and did you see
threw the
what he
ball
did
about-
last season with just
He
DeAndre
threw the
Hopkins
ball.
and Josh Downs?
He threw
College
the
doesn't
ball
matter, though.
about.
College
eight
We're talking about
plays.
college 2 years ago. He played last year in the NFL, Nick. He was
Dude, you can't. You're not allowed to say that. You literally just said that same thing for
because
Anthony
your
Richardson. You're
motherfucking
not
guy
allowed to
played
say
2
that.
games. This guy played an entire
You're
half
not allowed to
season
say that.
and actually performed, and the Titans' offense was churning. Their defense was a little bit of a low point, but they fixed a lot of parts on their defense.
He's going to tank this season. Just watch.
Their offense, I think, is going to be dealt to a lot of playing to their stars, which is their receiving core. I don't think Mayo Man has to be anything special. I think he's an average QB in the league right now, and could possibly be a guy that could just give it to his stars and let them make plays. So I have the floor for this team, 8 wins, ceiling 10.
Okay, so if Mayo Man starts the whole season, I got them at I think they could be bad. I mean, I got their floor at 4 wins, and I mean their ceilings, 8, maybe 9, just missing the playoffs. But if
Would you
who
say the
should be
floor was?
starting quarter,
4.
their floor is 4.
It's because he's about to start chirping for Mason Rudolph to take the reins.
Yeah, but if Mason Rudolph gets to start, just go, if he takes over halfway through the season, just go ahead and bump their wins up like 2. Give me like a +2 on what I just said.
All right, AFC South
He should be the
predictions.
starter.
AFC South predictions, I think we're all going to agree Houston's number 1.
Yes.
From here, I think is where we're all going to disagree.
Correct.
I have Titans at 2.
Okay, I have Colts at 2.
Oh, yeah, I got the Colts up too for sure.
I have
Honestly,
Jags at
I
three.
have Jags at 3.
And I have Titans at
And I have
4.
Colts at 4.
Holy
That's
fuck.
what I have, but on any given day, I could say that I do think that the Colts could finish above the Titans or the Texans. The Colts could win that division.
I can't believe it. You have the Colts in last, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
he's a
won
hater,
8
dude.
games last year.
Okay.
He's literally just a hater,
You
bro.
think Tennessee
He's
is
just
going to get more than 8 wins?
He just
I
doesn't
think they
like
could.
Florida, and he just doesn't like Florida, and he's been shitting on.
just
Anthony
shit on the
Richardson
Jags.
forever. So so he's got to stick with his guns.
That's insane. Okay, Mike, I think that was probably the worst take you've had so far. And I don't even know the NFL.
Yeah. You got some bad.
Exactly.
ones.
You don't know the NFL, so that should help me.
No, I mean, but like,
No, he's right. Nick knows what he's talking about, dude.
I mean, just watch the football game.
But
You don't watch NFL.
Dude,
like
you
that.
just sat here and shit on the Jags, and then you talked about
Yeah, shit on the Jags, but they
The
still
Colts
have better
being last.
pieces than the Colts.
I mean, I think you're gonna. I think
All right.
this could be a bad season for the Jags, but
what
I do
division
too.
are we moving
We're doing
on to
AFC
So we're
next?
going to the
West.
AFC West.
Oh, okay.
Let's
the
go ahead and
West.
start with the Chiefs.
Let's start with the big dogs. Let's just do it. Yeah.
Start with the Chiefs.
Do you pick them to win the Super Bowl until they don't win?
I mean, honestly, at this point, if you don't pick them to be in the Super Bowl, it's like saying Georgia's not making the playoffs right at this point.
Yeah.
Especially after last season when a lot of people are kind of,
Yeah, they had dog shit receiving core,
them.
and Travis Kelce looked like the worst version of himself. Patrick Mahomes still willed that team to a win. I hate the motherfucker. Still fucking finds a way to win.
It's because once they make the playoffs, they look different.
Yeah, they look like unstoppable.
It's actually pretty insane that they won the Super Bowl last year because, like, that was, like they front-loaded Pat's contract. Like, that was one of their worst years money-wise. That's the worst it's going to be for a while, money-wise for them. And they still want, like, they did not pay that much for, like, outside of Pat, they did not pay that much for offense. I remember after the Super Bowl, I saw that he was the highest paid quarterback that has ever won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is going to probably go down as the best quarterback of all time.
If he keeps his pace easily.
I think he is, dude. I mean, I've been saying it for like 2 or 3 years now.
Like last year,
when you watch him play, like when you watch him play, it's insane.
Different. It's backyard football and it's successful.
Well, he has the same trait as Tom Brady. If everyone was scared to give Tom Brady the ball fourth quarter with 2 minutes, same with Mahomes. If he gets the ball, you're losing.
Yeah,
at the end
36 seconds is too many seconds.
Cool. You know exactly what's going to happen, dude. Like, if they're getting the ball back with a little bit of time left, you hammer the money line.
Yeah, it's over.
So, like, receiving core in the draft, they picked up Xavier Worthy, speedster,
ridiculous,
fucking speedster.
They got their Tyreek Hill back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little early to say that.
Well, he's just as fast.
I know.
He's just as fast.
He's going to be blowing
It's
the
terrifying.
Top off, man.
If he
just send him deep every play.
If he hits his potential, it's going to be terrifying.
I mean, just think about how he's going to stretch the defense.
I think the only good thing is Travis Kelce seems to be rapidly declining. So, maybe.
Yeah, but he can still get it done, man.
Yeah, he's still an above-average tight end, easily.
Yeah.
He'll find the gaps in the zones.
With great hands.
They're just smart.
Yeah. And defensively, they lost a couple pieces, which was a huge part of them making the run they did.
Yep.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't bet against the Chiefs.
Snead,
yeah, he's over in the Titans now.
That's a huge loss.
Is Kadarius Toney still on their team?
I think so, but honestly, who knows?
Yeah, they were talking about using him as a running back today. But with their defense, their defense won it for them last year.
For sure.
Their defense was legitimately one of the best in the league.
No, I was going to say, how many games did Kadarius Toney single-handedly lose the game for them?
Like, probably 3 games
like
early, and then he didn't play again.
What about that wild play where he was offsides?
Oh, yeah, he was like 2 yards.
Oh, yep.
I don't even think they called that either.
And then Patrick Mahomes sits there after the game and says,
they did call it.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes after the game goes up to was it Josh Allen or whatever and goes, one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, dude, just watch the film. He's fucking way off.
I remember that.
Baby, dude.
Yeah.
I hate it when he loses just because I hate, like, he's such
he acts like the world's against him.
Like, you should be going over there and beating the shit out of Kadarius Toney, not complaining about the refs.
Yeah.
But all right,
You're telling your coach to bench him.
Floor and ceiling, what? Ceiling, Super Bowl.
Ceiling,
Super Bowl, floor, 10 wins, and
floor
AFC conference.
Yeah.
Lose.
Yeah,
lose in the
I'd
conference
say
championship.
10 or 11. Yeah. They're making, basically.
Must be nice to be a Chiefs fan.
They didn't exist 6 years ago.
I know.
I guess let's go to the Chargers. Big question mark for this team. Jim Harbaugh came in.
Do you think
their
Harbaugh
offense got stripped? Their identity, I don't know what it's gonna. It has to be pound the ball down the fucking middle.
Did you see him shit on Ryan Day in his hype video?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I think they're gonna.
Yeah, take a look at that after. It was like wild.
I know that's what, Harbaugh loved doing. That's what he loves to do. He brought in all of his guys, but they still got Justin Herbert, man. Like, they're still going to throw the ball.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't know who they're throwing it to.
Jordan Palmer. Is it Jordan Palmer?
Joshua Palmer.
Joshua Palmer. I think it was a J. I mean, he's good. Like he has rapport with Herbert. Like he is not a number one, but like he is a good receiver.
Yeah, he's
for them
no
to have on the
Keenan
team.
Allen or Mike Williams, who they just sent both of them away.
Lad McConkey.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
I think
That's gonna be
he's
Herbert's
going
guy.
to be a awesome slot guy.
Yeah, that's gonna be Herbert's man. It's gonna be third down.
Awesome
Where's
slot
McConkey?
guy.
Yeah, the Great White. I think he'll be good.
Now the question mark is Quentin Johnston, because if he can be, just a decent X for him,
if he can even just show
is he the biggest
any
bust?
part of his potential,
he's the biggest bust in a while.
Yeah, so far. As we'll see how this year goes, but
he'll probably be compared to like Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
First round wide receiver for the Eagles, was known for having cement hands because he couldn't catch a fucking football.
They picked him one pick before Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he was like the first or second receiver off the board.
The Vikings laughed at the Eagles as they picked him.
That was insane.
Yeah.
What could have been for the Eagles.
Dude.
But, yeah, I mean, this team's a question mark. I don't really know what to expect for this team. I think they still have talent. I just don't know what their offense is going to look like. Their defense is going to be mid. They weren't very good last season, but they made a lot of moves, tried to get a lot of focus to at least build up the front in the trenches, which is Harbaugh's bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the ceiling and floor? Because I honestly don't even know where to start.
So I think that Harbaugh is going to be able to do a lot with a little. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they still got a good core of the team.
Yeah,
they still have a really good core. I mean, I think they're going to be a middle pack team. You know what I mean? Like, I dare say they could be somewhat similar of the Texans next year. A lot of people kind of counting them out. I mean, definitely not to the same degree at all.
Yeah, I was going to say Texans were expected to still have like a top 3 draft pick last season.
Yeah, definitely not to all that, but just a whole new regime and everything, coming in. I think they can surprise people. I mean, I would say their floor is probably like 6 wins.
Yeah, I was leaning on like 7.
Yeah, I'll give them like 6 and a 10 or a 9 for 10 for a ceiling. Like I could see him making the playoffs. I could see him winning some games at the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see him sneaking away for like a wild card.
Team.
Just like being old school type of caliber
running
team.
The shit out of the ball. Herbert's just smart, decisive with it. Their defense starts to come along, get some momentum.
Yeah, I think they got a bunch of young building blocks, but I'm not very big this season. I think 7 is a solid floor. I would say maybe 9 for a ceiling. I don't think they can flash more than that. Especially with the division.
I just like so many teams in the AFC, dude. Well, sure, tough. I mean, I don't think, they're definitely not. I just want to be surprised if we look at it at the end of the year and they're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And we're talking about, we should have known, I just want to be surprised about it.
Yeah.
They're just that team to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree with you there. The Raiders, very low on the Raiders this year. They don't have a quarterback.
The John Gruden project kind of wrecked their fucking...
Oh, yeah. It's been downhill since Henry Ruggs killed the lady and dog.
It did.
148 miles per hour comes at you quick.
I mean, I don't even think that was it. I just think the John Gruden experience fucked them.
I mean, that was all the same
season. Their quarterback situation is, if they had a good quarterback, I'd be saying that they're, like, I'd probably be saying that they're going to get second.
Aiden O'Connell.
Who the fuck is that?
Sam Howell.
Gardner Minshew.
And Gardner Minshew. No, not Sam Howell. Yeah, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell.
Sam Howell's in
So Gardner Minshew starting or no? Is Gardner Minshew starting?
They don't know yet. They don't know yet. But a lot of the guys, it seems like a lot of the guys on the team like Aiden O'Connell. He was a later round pick last year.
Yeah, I think it was like a 6th round and took over.
What did he play for?
Yeah.
What, in college?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I'll look it up.
But if it wasn't for the quarterback situation, I would be saying that this team would be second in the division.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when Pierce took over last year, their defense was awesome, man.
You saw the vibes change.
They were awesome. The vibes were way different. They looked free for the first time in 5 years.
Yeah, the vibes changed.
He
The
played
team
for
actually.
Purdue.
I was wanting
Wow.
to say Purdue.
Okay.
Purdue has quarterbacks?
So, I mean, yeah, they got tons of weapons. Their draft pick, we talked about it earlier on the podcast, like taking Brock Bowers, super athlete, fantastic athlete. But they just picked up fucking Meyer
Yeah, they
the year
they
before
just got Mayer
early in the draft. So it's like, why are you running 2 tight end sets? You have so many other needs. It's like,
And he could be a big bargaining chip if you need something at the end of the season.
yeah, you don't trade Brock Bowers. You don't trade a piece like that.
I agree,
He's a
but
dog.
I see it. I just think that they're going to be using him more as a wide receiver throughout his career. I just feel like that was more of the thought in that.
Yeah, I think they run a lot of 2 tight
And now
end
you
sets
just have 2 badass.
and try to
tight
make
ends.
it as easy as possible for their quarterback. Devontae Adams, Meyer,
He's so good.
Brock Bowers, and I can't even think of who their number 2 Jacoby Myers, I think still.
So they just need a quarterback on offense?
A quarterback and a little bit of an offensive line, maybe some defensive backs. But like when it comes down to the trenches on defense, their front seven's scary.
Oh, they're awesome.
Like the Raiders are a
Max
team
Crosby's a
that
dog.
they are a few pieces away from going from like, I'm about to say my floor for them this season, 5 wins.
Yeah, honestly, I was going to give them the same as the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5 wins for a floor, 7 for a ceiling. I think they're a quarterback away from being a team that could. Now it's tough because, the Chiefs still exist over there. But a team that could
Yeah, they're
find
not
a
winning.
wild card.
Yeah, none of these teams are winning their division.
Okay, who's left?
Yeah, well, we don't even have to ponder that.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Who's left?
The Broncos. So the
The
Broncos.
worst team. In the
Yeah, I don't
division.
know where they're at. I can't stand Sean Payton. I can't stand this motherfucker.
Yeah, there's so many different ways their team could go. So many different ways. I
Who's
mean,
their quarterback now?
honestly, it's just
Your boy.
bad. I feel bad for
Who's my
Broncos
boy?
fans anymore.
Auburn.
Bo Nix.
Oh, shit. That's right. They did draft him.
They
Is he going to start?
got Bo Nix and Zach Wilson.
And there's a
It
third
seems
guy,
like
too.
it.
I can't think of his name.
It's between those. It's between them two.
Yeah. It's looking
That's-
more
There's
like
been a
Bo
lot
Nix
of
is probably
ravings
going to
about
start.
Zach Wilson.
I would have never
yeah,
thought Bo
but
Nix would start in the NFL, watching him play at Auburn.
Bo is Peyton's guy.
Yeah.
I've started to come around on Bo. I'm starting. To
I
come
like
around
Bo
on
from
him
what
a
I
little
saw
bit.
in
I think
Oregon.
he's got some potential.
Well,
But like
what
Nick
scares
said,
me-
it's so hard to get the 7 years he played at Auburn out of your mind.
Jesus. Well, no, it's not that
Yeah.
long. But what scares me with Bo, if you go back, and I'm going to pull a stat just for the argument, because I watched a lot of Oregon games last year. What scares me with Bo is if you go back and look at his average, yards per attempt.
Yeah, it was like 4
It was
or
like
5
6.
or something.
It was they're throwing so many short routes, so that scares me. Because
Oh yeah, yep.
at Auburn, he was accurate inside of 10 yards. It was the problem that he couldn't figure out where the fucking ball went in the middle and deep range of the field.
Definitely. And that's kind of why I think that I guess he is probably the better comparison to Sam Howell.
Well, at least he can. He's another guy that can extend plays and make some crazy
Yeah.
plays to extend the drive.
Yeah, that's why I think that I also think that they're going to be a pretty decent fantasy team to have some pieces of.
To me, the Broncos just scare me.
People out there.
There's not a lot to love. There's not a
Yeah,
lot
we
to
don't
like.
have to spend much time
be
on
big
them.
on.
Let's
they're a
pick the
bottom
AFC
team
West.
for
We
sure.
don't. I don't
Yeah,
think you need
yeah.
to, Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
6 wins is
We
what I'm
can-
just going to project for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom of the.
I think
bottom of the
Marvin
AFC
Mims
West.
could. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Chiefs 1,
Go ahead. Finish.
Chargers 2, Raiders 3, Broncos 4, all in unison.
That's what I think.
I'm gonna put the Raiders above the Chargers. I'm gonna give the Raiders some love.
I just can't do that
Above the
because of
Chargers.
Herbert. I just think Herbert's good enough to win games.
Now,
Agree. Yeah, for sure.
now to the headache we've all been waiting on.
Oh, this is my
Drum
favorite part.
rolls, ladies
I'm
and
just gonna sit
gentlemen.
here and not say anything the entire time.
Yes, sir.
Start with-
All right,
start with
I'm gonna
Cleveland.
take point on this one. Who you want to start with?
Start Cleveland.
Pittsburgh fan, everyone. If you don't know, for all the listeners out there that don't know,
ignorant.
we're gonna start with fucking
Who are we starting
Cleveland.
with? Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to start off like with the whole division, but like, I was thinking about it earlier on how I would rank this team or this division, and like every single combination I thought of, they all sounded disgusting. Like it just sounded so weird to have to say any of these teams were going to be fourth in their division.
Yeah, I think it is
Like,
kind of
this-
tough. Let me start with
This is the best division in football right here.
Let me start with the losses and gains and like drafts and stuff, just so we can get a good baseline for the team. Notable losses, didn't lose a lot. They lost Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
Fucking wife kicker or whatever he is.
Yeah, the field goal kicker.
Yeah.
Notable
99
gains,
power.
they picked up Jerry Jeudy from Denver, who I was big on when he first came in the league. Kind of just been a disappointing guy, but a lot of it was like,
Wasn't he?
what the fuck is he supposed to do in Denver?
Yeah, I was about to say.
I think he can be a good two.
Yeah,
He can be a good
I still
two.
like him. Not as big on him as I once was, but I still like him. And they picked up Jameis Winston to be their backup QB, which I think is important for
Yep.
this team. And then Dante Foreman from
Good pickup.
Chicago to be their backup running back to replace Kareem Hunt.
Who's
Don't know.
quarterback?
Good
Is it
pickup.
still?
They also got Nick
Yeah, it's
Deshaun?
Massage Man.
Do you guys like Deshaun?
They also
I liked him.
brought Nick
Houston.
Houston.
Say that again, Matt.
I would just say with the running backs, they also brought in Foreman and Nakeem Hines, and then they have Jerome Ford
Yeah. So I don't know what
and
they're
then Nick Chubb.
like
later.
who they're gonna have to replace Kareem Hunt. I don't know if Jerome Ford's gonna take that role or if they're gonna give it to Foreman.
So
I
I
think it
don't
also
know when
depends on
Hines will
Chubb.
be back. He got hurt at the very beginning of the last season, so I don't know if Hines will really be in there much.
Mhm.
But I think Jerome Ford will definitely get the bulk to begin with. They're familiar with him. He's younger, more fresh. But Foreman's a beast, dude. The last 2 or 3 years, whenever he gets an opportunity later in the season, whenever he gets a game where they just feed him, he can go. He's a monster. He runs tough, man. I hate that they have this deep of a backfield.
Yeah. And then in the draft, they didn't really get too
That
many
scares me.
notable picks. A lot of it was depth pieces because they didn't have a first round. But they did get Zach Zinter from Michigan in the second round, I believe. And he's currently listed as their second string guard. But he was one of the better interior O-linemen in college football until his leg snapped in half. So
Yeah.
if he healed from that, I think this dude has potential to be one of the better interior O-linemen in the league. I was very big on him. I want to see if they move him into that starting string, but I think they're trying to figure out his health first. So with that, team didn't really get worse. They did get a lot of depth, and they got a new number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
What are we thinking on him, Matt?
I would say they got better. So my thing is this all goes down. I mean, this all comes down
To the massage man.
to Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Which he has not looked good. Ever since he left Houston,
Yeah.
he has not been able to throw the ball down the field, man.
Mhm. He has
And
not been
I
the
was
same
a
guy.
huge Deshaun Watson fan.
When he was in
and
Houston,
I
dude,
will
he
say,
was a spectacle. I don't know what it is.
He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Mhm.
We
Doesn't he
thought the
just
same
look
thing about
different
him
now, though?
after his first
He's,
couple
way
years that we thought
skinnier.
about CJ Stroud.
I don't know. He just looks frail to me. He used to be that big
Yeah, I
fucking
mean-
dude at Clemson and then big guy at Houston. Now it's like all
It
of a
looks
sudden
like he went through a
appears.
drug
It-
drug issue.
That's what it looks like.
It's probably got to be tough to not play for a whole year like that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Maybe you shouldn't
Or
sexually
he
assault
didn't play for
20-some
2
odd
years,
women,
right?
you
Or
know.
was it just one? It was like 2.5 because he got suspended. But so it comes down to him. I will say though, with him, he's scared. He was so good in the pocket last year. If he can figure his throwing out, how to fucking get the ball to people, he was so hard to take down in the pocket, dude. I thought he was awesome. It annoyed me when we played him.
Yeah, and I will say
But,
last season in Cleveland, they were plagued with a lot of injuries all over. Their O-line was pretty badly
Yeah.
banged up. Their wide receiving core was banged up. And the biggest
oh,
one,
yeah. It
Nick
was-
Chubb, out for the season after
Yeah.
the Steelers removed his kneecap from his body.
should have been quicker than that. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly as a Steelers fan, it pains me to say it, but like they had a very a crazy impressive season last year for the injuries that they had. They had no offensive line and just going through quarterbacks, but their defense was amazing, and they could move the ball enough. I mean, all credit to Kevin Stefanski for last year, dude. He totally should have been. He was, but he totally deserved the Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, floor and ceilings.
I have their floor 8 to 9 wins. I'm leaning more on 9. Ceiling 11 to 12.
I'm gonna just let you guys know. Every single team in this division, I'm going to say their floor is 9 wins. And then I'm going to choose between like 12 or 13 for the ceilings, because anyone could win or be the last. You know what I mean? It's too close.
All right, are we going over to Slim Shiesty now?
Yeah, over to Slim Shiesty. Dyed his hair blonde, really on his Eminem era.
Yeah, he's about to fuck shit up this year now.
Notable losses for this team: Joe Mixon. That was really it. They have a shit ton of gains, though. New starting safety in Geno Stone from Baltimore. New starting running back in Zach Moss from Indianapolis.
They got Zach Moss.
New starting tackle Orlando Brown from Kansas City. New starting tackle Trent Brown from New England. New starting tight end Mike Gesicki from New England. Sheldon Rankins, new starting D tackle from Houston. Von Bell, another safety, I believe he's in their starting lineup, from Carolina. They absolutely went all out in free agency this year and picked up a ton of big pieces. And then in the draft, they got Amarius Mims, one of the best tackles. Currently second string. I expect him to get in an early impact and probably take that job from Trent Brown. After that, they got Jermaine Burton to play wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who I think is good, and I think will be a nice compliment, especially with T. Higgins being a question mark right now.
Best thing that could happen to Jermaine Burton is gets hit by a truck on the way to the stadium.
Yep.
And then they got Chris Jenkins Jr., D tackle nose guard from Michigan. So what do we think, Matt?
So I would put them as, if I had to rank them, they would be the last team in the division. I am worried about Joe Burrow's wrist, just because apparently this is a unprecedented injury for a quarterback. So people who have had this wrist injury apparently aren't able to use it in the same way. So I feel like that's a bit of a question mark. But if Joe's Joe, then this team should be good. I think they definitely have the worst defense in the league. I mean, I think their defense is not anything what it used to be, the past couple of years. They have just been falling off recently and, losing guys. So I think they're going to put up some points. They're going to be awesome. I love the addition of Zach Moss. I think he's a great, cheap fix for losing Joe Mixon. So, I mean, like I said, I put them at last, but they're anywhere in between 9 and 13 wins still. They could still make a run and, make a run for the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're last. I think that's an argument for a later point.
Yeah, I know who you think's last. Yeah, I know.
I think they have a ton of gains from this. From what I've seen in camp, they've been saying that Joe Burrow's wrist is good. Granted, we have to see it. Of course, they're going to say it, but
he also doesn't get tackled in camp, so
yeah. So I mean, we got to see it for sure. From it looks and from the sounds of everything, they're saying he's fully healed, recovered, ready to go. Which I don't know how well to gauge that comment. I think they were a good roster.
Yeah,
they were plagued with injury last year, which was a lot of the reason why they had issues. And I think the biggest question mark, in my opinion, is T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins, because he
I
got
mean,
the
he's going to play
franchise
this
tag,
year.
and he was expected to get traded in the offseason. I don't know if he's going to pull like a Brandon Ayuk and just demand to get traded at some point before the season starts. I wouldn't be surprised because he wants to be the number one guy.
It's in his best interest to play this year out, ball out, and go get a big contract wherever he wants.
Yeah.
Just like with Brandon Ayuk, because, I mean, teams have a lot more control now. Like, guys really can't just sit out like that.
For sure. But if the Bengals know that they won't be able to pay him because they got all of their monies elsewhere, I think it's in the Bengals' best interest to trade him now while he has some value to get something back for him.
I mean, it depends because it's just like with the 49ers. You know what I mean? They want to hold on to Ayuk because, like, look, man, like, we are Super Bowl contenders. Like, we, like, just, I mean, same with the Bengals, you know, with Joe Burrow healthy and everything, you know. We want you here because we think we can win. You're under contract here. You're going to fucking play.
For sure. So I think it'll be an interesting thing to see what they do there. But like we were talking about, good roster plagued with injury. If this team can stay healthy, I think they're absolutely a team capable of making a deep run. And that's the biggest thing right now for this team is health. And I think that's a big common thing with a lot of these AFC North teams. I mean, personally, I have their floor at 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I would not argue with that. Not 9 or 10, yeah.
And then my ceiling for them is probably 13.
13, yeah. I mean, I want to be mad if you said 15. They're that good, man. Joe Shiesty.
Slim Shiesty, okay. He dyed his hair blonde.
Oh yeah, my fault.
And shaved it.
Joe Burr.
It's crazy though, because we were just saying 15 potential.
But I'll say, I mean, if I have to give them one, I'll give them 14 and 10. 14 and 9. No, I give them 14 and 9.
All right, let's go over
all right, Ravens next.
Yep, Ravens next. This team lost a lot. They lost Patrick Queen, starting middle linebacker. Lost Gus Edwards, one of their big running backs. Lost Morgan Moses, their starting tackle. Lost Geno Stone, their starting safety. Lost John Simpson, their starting guard. Lost Kevin Zeitler, their other starting guard. Lost J.K. Dobbins, another big part of the running back room, when healthy.
No, he wasn't. He didn't play. He hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, exactly. The dude can't seem to keep both ACLs attached to his body at one time.
Yeah.
Notable gains. In free agency, the only one they have, Derrick Henry.
King Henry. Yes, sir.
Impact draft picks, they got Roger Rosengarten, tackle from Washington.
Tez Walker
from UNC, who I am huge on. Yeah, and Nate Wiggins, corner from Clemson. So let's talk about them, Matt.
So I love the Ravens. I respect the Ravens. You know, they are the team in the division we always battle against. And I mean, they've been the best team in our division consistently for probably the last 4 years. I mean, they should be, like, going into the year on paper, they should be the best team in this division. I think that getting Derrick Henry was an insane acquisition, and it's going to make, like, their offense is going to be so good, dude. I mean, they're already insanely efficient, and now you just add, I know he's getting older, but he was still awesome last year. And he had a little bit less of a workload, so he should be a little bit more fresh, a little bit more fresh. Have some young legs. And, I mean, their defense is awesome. I mean, that speaks for themselves. It has been since I've been watching football. I have no reason to doubt their defense. They've always been a solid-ass group. And I don't think they've gotten worse from last year. And their quarterback won MVP, and they were one of the best teams in the league. And they had the best record in the AFC, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I think the people who say he's a running back are stupid or do not know football.
Yeah, I think they're ignorant. The only thing I can negatively say about Lamar is his health.
I mean, he was healthy last year.
Yeah, last year he was. But he's had 2 season-ending injuries
but
so far.
It's football, man. People get hurt.
I know. It's just concerning for quarterbacks.
Miss years, too, you know?
Yep. Very concerning for quarterbacks, especially one of his play style that is a runner of the football, like a heavy on the run side. Granted, he's a great quarterback when healthy.
See, but he doesn't take many hits, though. That's the crazy part.
No,
he's so fucking shifty. He just gets down.
For sure. I think – so I will disagree with you. I don't think this team got better. I think they got worse. I think the amount that they lost is terrifying, especially with their – yeah, you said they got better.
I thought I said that they just didn't get worse.
No, you said they got better.
Okay.
I think they did get worse. I think they did get significantly worse because their O-line now is in shambles. They picked up that rookie from Washington, but who knows if he's really going to be a top guy. I think he was grabbed in the 3rd or 4th round. I mean, losing as many O-linemen, losing their safety, losing their linebacker, losing the majority of their running back room. Granted, they were all hurt anyway, but now you really got Derrick Henry, and who's going to be the backup now?
For Derrick Henry,
yeah.
I believe they have Justice Hill.
That was the 3rd running back I was thinking of.
And they have Keaton Mitchell, but he had an ACL injury at the end of last year, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he's projected to come back.
He was awesome. He was a missile, dude. He would be a great compliment to Derrick Henry later in the season if he can get back to full health.
So with this team, I'm not big on Derrick Henry. Me and you have had this argument back and forth. I think he is a very good running back, but the style of running back he is does not last long in the league. Age is very short for them. Now he's going on to year 30, and that is the magic number for a ton of running backs. Like I said with you, running backs fall off a cliff at some point in their career. They will go from being top of the mountaintop, and the very next season they can be fucking down bad. Look at recently Todd Gurley, Austin Eckler, fucking Ezekiel Elliott. Those are a lot of dudes
guys are different.
I know they're different. I mean, this guy's had a very long career, but he's got a long career out of lowering his shoulder and beating people to death.
Yeah, because he's way bigger than all of them and way stronger.
He is.
He's a monster.
But his body will run out, and it's
you're betting on him.
My thing with it is I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff.
Always his thing.
I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff.
Isn't that what they said last year?
Downhill is going to happen at some point.
Yes, and they're going to keep saying it.
It's scary to think of when it could. So with his role, I don't think he's going to have the same role on this team as he did on the Titans. I don't think he's going to be an every down back of he's the offense.
He will be. They said he will.
I mean, like where he's the offense. Let me finish. Ravens' game plan is not pound the ball down the middle with the running back where the Titans was for so long with Derrick Henry.
I mean,
they're still Lamar Jackson's going to be the primary handler of the ball. Derrick Henry's going to be a nice complement with that.
I mean, I personally think that him going to the Ravens adds years to his career.
I do too, because his workload, I think, is going to go down. However, it's still a scary thing to me. And their offense in general, especially with the O-line being detrimented, worries me about him. So I don't know if I'm very big on this team comparison. Their receiving core, they added Tez Walker, which I am huge on.
Dude, no, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. It was about Pittsburgh. I just went to the next sheet and saw a notable loss you put down as a fucking joke.
For the what?
I think you're gonna fuck with Matt, but okay.
Moving ahead of time.
But for the Ravens, like they have been the best running team for the last since they've gotten Lamar Jackson. They have been the best running team in the league every single year. And you don't think that's going to keep up with Derrick Henry?
No, but a big thing with the rushing and being a great rushing team is they've also had one of the better offensive lines. An offensive line is a huge part of your rushing ability. I don't think it will affect Lamar too much because of how he gets his rushing yards. A lot of it is him making people miss. But running backs, when it comes to hitting the hole that is created for you, I don't know if that hole is going to be created.
Henry makes his own holes.
Derrick Henry can fall forward for 3 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about offensive lines or who they got to justify saying that they're going to be awesome or that, but like they're not they have not had a bad line.
No, in the past they've had a very good line, but now they've lost both of their starting guards and one of their starting tackles.
And I'm sure they didn't just replace them with bums. Like I'm not like
they have a rookie to replace the tackle, but in free agency they didn't adjust the guards.
I mean, anyone can play guard. It's a position that you could put any offensive lineman at. I mean, losing a tackle is a big thing. Losing guards is not.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing with one of the best running coaches that we've seen the past couple years. Like they know how to get the game plan to pound the fucking rock, and Lamar opens that up a lot. Like his threat to run opens that up a lot. Like banged up Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns last year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even play all year. You don't think Derrick Henry can do that? Dude, he's going to tear that shit up.
Different O-line, much older running back. I'm just worried about Derrick Henry's long-term health. If he stays healthy, I think he'll be great. I just don't want to count on him staying healthy when he's 30 years old as a power running back.
He's different, dude. He's different.
What do you got for floor and ceiling?
I mean, I think they're one of the better. They on paper they should be the best team in our division, one of the best teams in the league. So I'll put them at, ceiling 15, floor 11.
I have their floor at 8, and I think their ceiling is 10. I think the loss of the many is going to be significantly outweigh the gain of a running back.
Yeah, I do not think it's going to hurt them that bad.
Are you basing?
I don't think they're going to have like a Rams fall off.
Their offensive line, their safety, their linebacker, their running back committee.
Because of one safety, their defense has also been one of the best defenses in the league. Like that's why they killed people last year.
Yes, and they lost a significant part of that defense. They lost their safety, they lost their linebacker, they lost some defensive tackles. Like they're not the same team, and especially in the trenches on both sides. I just don't know if this team is going to be the same as we've seen. I think they peaked last year on their defense and probably on their offense as well because that O-line is a big issue.
But you don't know that.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't know that. You don't know the guys.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, you don't know
this is
that
all projections. I don't see this team replicating what they did last year with the team they have this year.
Yeah, but what did they win last year? 15 games?
I know they got the AFC bye in the playoffs. It was 14 or 15 wins. I want to say 14.
So you think they're going to be 4 to what? 4 to 6 games
I think they're probably going to win around 10 games.
I don't know.
I mean, you had their ceiling at 10.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you think they're going to win around that.
I personally think they'll have 10, and I think that is their ceiling. I don't think they get above that.
That's crazy.
I think they have a very tough schedule on top of that, and I just don't see them hitting what they did last season.
Okay, well, we'll see where these reflect in your whole division rankings.
We will.
Just wait till you hear his notable losses for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
the first
I
one's
already
a
know
joke.
There's gonna be tons of bullshit, dude. I already know. Go ahead.
Notable losses.
Is it Matt Canada?
Yeah, the worst offensive coordinator
Matt Canada,
in all of football.
Kenny Pickett, and Deontay Johnson.
Dude.
Matt Canada, you realize, is the worst offensive coordinator of all time.
Right, and it's a notable loss, even if it's for the better.
Yeah. Yes, it is. He is right. It is a very notable loss.
Notable gains, they got Arthur Smith, their new offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator for the Titans, former head coach for the Falcons.
Yep.
Russell Wilson, Justin Fields.
Yes, sir.
Patrick Queen.
Super Bowl champion. Yes,
Impact draft picks, tackle Troy Fatanu, center Zach Frazier, wide receiver Wilson Roman, linebacker Peyton Wilson, currently playing second string.
Roman Wilson.
Oh, I said Wilson
You
Roman.
said Wilson
Yeah,
Roman.
my bad.
Yeah.
Roman Wilson.
It's okay. It's okay.
So I get. Let me start so you can yell at me. This offense, I think, is terrifying. I think their O-line is heavy dependent on their first and second year players absolutely spazzing out. The O-line was a weak point in recent years. They've replaced it with 2 rookies.
The weakest
Rookie
point.
O-line is very hard to rely on in the NFL. Very few rookie O-linemen are actually good as they are projected to be.
Broderick was awesome last year.
Broderick was very good for you guys last year.
Yep.
And that's your second-year player that you're hoping continues to play very well. Then you're looking
he's
at
getting moved into
the
his actual position.
Yeah. Then you're looking at the receiving core. You have go ahead and say his name.
We have George Pickens,
Yeah.
George Pickens, Roman Wilson, and then behind them we got Van Jeff, Quez Watkins, and we get one more other person.
I think you are missing someone, but it's on the same level of Van Jefferson and Quez Watkins. I think George Pickens,
Scotty Miller. That's who it was.
Yeah. So you got George Pickens, who's definitely your wide receiver 1. And outside of that, I don't think you have a dependent weapon. Roman Wilson, we'll have to see from him. I'm not in love with the guy. I think he has the potential to be a solid number 2, but I don't see him being a stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With the wide receiver group, I mean, I think again you're going to have to count it. It's Arthur Smith. It's his offense. So there's going to be tons of double tight end sets. So that means 2 wide receivers. So I think towards the end of the year, we're going to start seeing Roman Wilson out there a lot. But we usually work our rookies in pretty slow. So it's probably going to be Van Jeff on the other side to start out.
That's gross.
But yeah, it is gross. It does suck. That is definitely the hole that I hate, the position that I hate to look at. But as you know, I'm insanely high on George Pickens. I mean, I think he's got the talent. He is an insane wide receiver. And Nick was saying, Matt Canada was the worst offensive coordinator ever.
I don't know how he made it this far.
We had George, dude.
He was terrible everywhere he was.
I know, dude. I know.
Shitty at LSU.
It just got worse and worse every year for the Steelers.
Shitty at whatever
every
Big Ten
year,
team he was at.
Yeah, they said when Big Ben was quarterback, because that was Big Ben's last year when Matt Canada was there. They said, or Big Ben said, that he would just he'd just change the play in the huddle. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can't hear him, guys. We're just going to have to. We're running this instead." And then Big Ben leave. Obviously, you have Big Ben leaving, but we didn't have a 400-yard game with Matt Canada. You know what I mean? He leaves first game 400 yards. So that is a huge thing going into this year. Like, we did not throw the ball downfield at all. It was all flats, shit out to the sidelines, tons of 3-and-outs, tons of screens. And it was completely different after Matt Canada left. We moved the ball. And it was the worst offense I've ever seen. And we won 10 games. Like, Arthur Smith is going to be insane. I do agree that we have our wide receivers, our line. We do have 2 rookies on it. Those are question marks because they're rookies. I think Troy is going to be good. Not as confident with Frazier, but I think Troy Fontanu, is that his name?
Fontanu.
I'm terrible with the names. Yeah. I think he'll end up being. It'll probably be tough at the beginning. It should be tough at the beginning, just like with Broderick. But Broderick way improved at the end of the year. James Daniels was fucking awesome at the end of the year. And what those 2 guys are replacing, they weren't fucking good anyways. They were Dan Moore and Mason Cole. the most frustrating players I've ever had to watch on my team, dude. That's like when you always shit on Najee. That's always what like I try to bring up. It's like, dude, those guys were just letting guys come straight to them. Now we'll have to see if these rookies, do that, but those guys were bad, dude.
Yes, I know me and you have talked about it a lot offline. When it comes to the overall offense, it's a mystery right now. Like, yes, it should be better than last season. That's not very hard to do.
Just from scheming, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's how much better. You have at quarterback Russell Wilson, who is on the back end of his career. Me and you are both not as down on him as a lot of people seem to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also not as big on him as you are. I think he will be decent at best. I don't think he's going to be anything above that. I think your O-line is a question mark because you have two rookies. I think your wide receiver room is not good because you have George, but outside of George, there's not a lot to work with. It's hoping that Roman Wilson is a stud.
Yeah, it is a big hope on that.
And then the running back room,
we do have Pat Freiermuth, though. He will be used a lot in the receiving game.
Yeah, you do have Pat as a tight end. And then running back room, I'm not big on Najee. I think he's an average running back in the league. You will disagree with me. You will say he's one of the best running backs in the league.
No, I mean, I haven't been saying that for a little bit. He appeared that he could have been trending that way after his rookie year, but then, without Big Ben, shit got tough. And the guy has still ran for 1,000 yards in every season. He is a good running back in the league. A really good running back in the league. Yeah,
he runs for 1,000 yards off of one of the most carries in the league every year.
Against one of the most dog shit lines in the league, dude. I
don't want to hear it about dog shit lines.
We will see this year, dude. We will see this year. We have our offensive coordinator has had great success in running the ball. And it's not even really just Najee that I'm excited about. Because that's the main reason that I kind of cool off when I think about the receivers is I think our running game is going to be ridiculous. I mean, Jalen Warren and Najee are a great 1-2 punch, and we have someone that might be able to actually utilize them, and I am extremely excited about that.
All right, floor and ceilings. Mike, go first, so you can go ahead and piss off Matt.
So they're over under on betting is 8.5. I believe the over is plus 125. I have a floor of 6 wins.
What's your ceiling?
Ceiling 9.
Their ceiling is the worst that they've done in the last 20 years.
The ceiling is about what you guys have done every year for the last
But we're talking about ceiling.
5 years.
The best they can be. I don't think the best they can be.
Correct, because I think other teams around you guys got better, and I think you have a harder schedule. The Falcons is your week 1 opener. Well, that's not even a guaranteed win. Then you play the Broncos, which you should win that. The Chargers, which is a mystery. Yeah. The Colts, which is supposed to be a team that is getting better. The Cowboys, and then you play the NFC East, so you have the Cowboys. I don't think you guys can win that.
Did you say the Colts were going to be like one of the worst in their division?
Yeah, in their division, sure. I still don't think it's a guarantee that you guys beat them. I think you both have issues on the offensive side and are good on the defensive side. Now you're trying to say that
they're tough?
Not saying that they're tough. I'm just saying that you guys aren't great.
I mean, that's the thing. But, like, with how bad our offense was last year, like, our defense is great. Like, I've been saying it, and I've been right about it for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, no one will argue you guys about your defense, but when your offense is not good and it's still a big question mark on what the fuck it's going to be, I'm not going to put stock in that you guys are all of a sudden going to be a resurgence. So after the Colts, you play the Cowboys. I don't think you guys can play with the Cowboys. I think they're too star-studded on both sides that they'll just outscore you guys. Then you got the Raiders, who should be good. Though. The Jets, the Giants, the Commanders. Then you got the Ravens. And from Week 11's your gauntlet, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
We went 5-1 against the best division in football last year. I'm not worried about the division. I am
5-1 in the best division of football, but two of those teams were so
year.
heavily injured that they were shells of their starting
we
roster.
We were injured too.
Not nearly as much.
Too.
Not nearly as much.
Oh my gosh, it never matters when we are. Doesn't matter if we're with.
No, because you compared you guys injuring one guy and then every other team missing 7+ people from their starting roster, and you try to say it's the same. It's not.
I mean, the one guy we're missing, we're literally 1-11 without him. But, it probably doesn't. He's probably not that impactful.
I understand. It's TJ Watt, one of the best edge rushers in the league when healthy. But how often does he actually play every season? The man's had a serious injury in the last of his 3 years.
He's had most of them. He had the
in 2016 when he was drafted.
At the beginning 2 years ago. In 17 he was drafted. He had the pec injury when 2 years ago, the first game of the year against the Bengals, and then last year, and before that he just missed like a game or two. That was the first big injury he had. And then last year, his lineman fell into his leg on one of the last plays of the game, on the last game of the year. That's not him being injury prone. That's a fluke injury that happens in football. That's why I hate when you just say, "Well, he's gonna get injured. He was hurt this one time, so is it?"
I mean, truth or fact, he's been injured for multiple games in like the last 3 to 4 years. He's 30 years old, 32 years old, I think now. He's not exactly young anymore. It's not 2016.
He's 29.
29, going on year 30.
Okay, what is floor and ceiling, Matt?
You know what the ceiling is. It's the top. It's hoisting that Lombardi trophy above Russell Wilson's head.
Russell Wilson starting?
Yeah, that's their starter right now. Justin Fields is the backup.
Yeah.
Potential kick returner.
Justin Fields should sit this year and learn behind.
Or he can return kicks all year, like you guys are talking about.
No, he should not return kicks. That's the most stupidest thing I have ever heard.
Came from your camp.
He's our backup quarterback. I don't want him returning kicks. I want him to be backup. No, it's not. It's just beat writers need people to quit.
It just sounds like Arthur Smith back up to his ways. You guys signed him, and a week later, your backup quarterbacks on the special teams.
Okay, let's get to the AFC North ranking.
Okay. I'll go ahead and get yelled at for this. I think 1 is the Bengals, 2 is the Browns, 3 is the Ravens, 4 is the Steelers.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. I'll go next.
Dude.
I'm going to go Bengals 1, Baltimore 2, Pittsburgh 3, Browns 4.
Yeah, I got Steelers, Ravens, Browns, Bengals. So literally opposite of Mike.
Okay.
Steelers aren't going to be good this year.
Yeah, you're going to be eating some words this year, dude.
Sure I am.
You guys should make a bet right now.
Sure I am.
You guys should make a bet right now.
We cut the cancer out, bro. We put V in our cancer, bro. We got super cancer now.
Super cancer.
And we're going to win some fucking games.
All right, well, thanks for coming on, Matt. We appreciate you talking the NFL with us. And I need you guys before the season to make a bet on over-under on wins.
We did last year.
I need you to do it again. I need you to do it on the podcast.
Too scared to do it now. Yeah, their ceiling's 9.
Well, yeah, let's keep the trend. 9 wins.
Oh, here we go. For what?
So I need them to win 10 games.
You need them to win 10.
So it's 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5's the line.
I got over. You got under.
Okay, what's the bet?
You tell me, Matt.
It was $100 last time.
All right, let's keep the pace.
Let's do it.
And Mike has to wear a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey to work.
Well, there's a chance. We talked about me flying up there for the Pittsburgh Giants game.
Well, that has nothing to do with this penalty.
I know, but that was on the week. I just want to put context
we
in there.
We wouldn't know yet. Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers jersey at work for the entire day.
I agree. I'll wear a Giant something at work.
All right, Matt. We appreciate you coming on. Until next time.
It was fun. See you guys.
See you, homie.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That was the AFC preview and predictions for the season. We're getting so close to football season. I can feel it. Give us a follow on YouTube. Give us a follow on TikTok and Twitter. We're going to be posting a lot of content coming up soon, a lot of shorts, a lot of clips. As you can tell, Mike's kind of a lot of crazy sound bites that we can put up there for you guys to listen and share. And again, if you want to support us, go to our channel, click the link, become a member of our channel, and we can answer your questions here live on air. Until next time.
Yerp.